Hi, I'm Briony Kennedy, the founder of ADORN Cosmetics, and today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make your eyes look bigger. I'm also going to show you how to really quickly contour your skin if you're wanting to have more of a higher cheekbone look. Maybe you're trying to have a stronger jawline, or maybe you're just trying to hide a bit of an extra chin area. So a really quick contour or a quick way of shaping the face. So today's all about event makeup. So whether it's New Year's or you've got a birthday or Christmas or anything that you're celebrating, I'm going to show you a look including some of the products from the Hazel Eyes kit that has a complementary color in there. When I say complementary, it's a complementary eye color and it makes hazel eyes stand out more, and that's the golden emerald. So I'll be using that and showing you how you can add in complementary colors to complement your eye color and make them stand out. So today I'll be using the Hazel Eye kit that you can get from the website, and I will be showing you how to have really flawless event makeup or skin, as I said before, also doing something to make the eyes really look big and stand out and pop, and I'll be showing you some little tips and tricks along the way. So first of all, what I love to do before I start putting my makeup on is either using our lip balm or our new Soothing Barrier Balm, and I put that on my lips. Now the reason I do that is I suffer from really dry lips, like probably most of us do, and there is nothing worse having really dry, cracked looking lips when you put a lipstick on. So if you put this on first, it'll just help. By the time you get to putting a lipstick on, the moisturization that occurs should soften those cracks and make the lipstick look a lot nicer. All right, so that's the first step. Then the second step for me is using the Skin Hydration Primer. Now sometimes I mix this with the oils, but today I'm just using it on its own. Just one pump is heaps. Really get in your eyebrows, ladies, because quite often we've got a lot of dry skin in there. So really give your eyebrows a good moisturization. Okay, so I'm only using the primer today, not the oil as well, because I'm going to use a combination of the hydrating cream stick as well as the loose minerals to get my flawless camera ready finished skin. Okay, so for me, using that combination and this one in particular that has some of the natural plant oils like shea butter, etc., I just don't feel for me that I actually need the facial oil as well. So it's about finding the right combination of skin treatments or moisturizers for under the skin, because that's the secret to your makeup looking flawless as well. So if I was just using the loose pot, maybe I would use both the oil and the moisturizer, but because I'm using this and my skin's not that dehydrated or dry in particular, the oils in this will be enough to give me a bit of hydration. Okay, now with any dark eye techniques, I do always do my eyes first, and the reason for that is when we're putting eyeshadow on or whatever it is that we're putting on the eyes that might be a little bit dark, chances are we're going to get a little bit of fallout, and as you can tell, I've got dark circles under my eyes as it is. Most of us do. If you were to put your foundation on first, then do your eye makeup, and you get all the speckles of the eyeshadow underneath, you've just wasted all that time getting flawless skin, and it'll mix in with your under eye circles, mix in with your concealer, and look like you've got really dark circles, which we want to avoid. So do your eye makeup first. It might feel a bit weird, but if you do it first, I can promise you that it will be easier to clean up underneath here, okay? And it will also make it a lot easier for you to just correct things as you're going along. So to get started, I am now going to put a couple of products on my eyes to get them nice and even looking, so a nice canvas on the skin. It's important to note as well that if you suffer from eye makeup not lasting on the eyes long, then you might avoid putting any moisturizer around the eyes. The eyes are a very oily area. They've also skin on skin, so it's constantly warm, and you'll find that products may not last that long. So if you are suffering from that happening, then you might avoid putting moisturizers around your eye and just do that at nighttime, okay? So the first thing I like to do is get the skin on my eyelids nice and even. I want to eradicate any of the veins, redness, and I want to give myself a nice blank canvas like that. So you can see there's still some veins in here. The reason I do that is because it will not distort the eyeshadow color when I'm using it. Okay, so if you've got all these bluey, reddy veins, it will distort the look of your eyeshadow colors. Putting a blank canvas like this will give a really nice, true color to the eyeshadows that you're using, and also just putting a concealer on the eyelid. And in this instance, I've used the Peachy Sleek concealer. You could use the light concealer or any of the concealers that you're using. If you just dab a little bit on, it also makes the eyeshadow easier to blend because you've got a cream there to also help blend the eyeshadow. So I just find that it blends the eyeshadow easy, gives an easy, nice, even canvas to work with, and it also just helps everything look immaculate. So pop a concealer on first, and I'm just going to pop some on this side, here as well, on this eye, just to get that nice and even. Now I copped a book to the eye the other day. I was reading to my boys, and one boy snatched the book off the other, and mummy copped it in the eye. So I've got a bit of a bruise, so I'll show you how this awesome Peachy Sleek will cover that up later on. The joys of boys in your household. Okay, so the next step for me with this particular look is going to be using one of the chubby pencils, and as I said before, the hazel eyeshadow kit. So I'm using the golden emerald and the obsidian in the hazel eye kit. Now my eyes are a bit more brown than they are hazel, but I just thought I'd show you how you could use these colors. There's also the base eyeshadow that comes in that kit as well, which you could use under the brow to enhance the brows a little bit, or you could use it as a third color, but I'm just using those two colors today. I'm now using the Golden Unity Chubby Crayon or eyeliner crayon, which you can use as eyeshadow or an eyeliner. So I'm going to start by just putting this in the corner of my eye. So today it's all about showing you how to make your eyes look bigger and also add what I call a complementary or a pop of color. So it's the colors that you sort of think, what would I do with that? Like, where does that go? And green is one of those colors most people don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to show you how you can incorporate color into your eyeshadow as a pop of color and not a whole lid color where it can look a bit too much. Okay, so I've just drawn this on like a C. So I've gone right up onto my eyebrow bone and right down to the middle part of my iris or even the pupil area. So it's a big C, and I've really added quite a lot in. Now the trick is to add more of your eyeshadow or more of your pencil than you want to end up with, because when you start blending, it will probably end up half as intense as it is now. Okay, so there's two reasons I'm using a chubby crayon underneath the loose eyeshadows. One is it makes the loose eyeshadow intense. It really makes the color vibrant and pop, okay, and it gives better coverage. It's a little bit like when you use two foundation types. You might use a liquid or a cream and then you top it with the loose. It's really intense, really flawless, and it's the same with the eyeshadow. So if you want a real soft, natural look, just use the eyeshadow on its own. Or if you want a really intense look, then you might want to put one of the chubby crayon eye crayons on first before the eyeshadow. Then the eyeshadow will look really intense, it'll be easy to blend, and it will stay on longer, okay? Or you could just use the crayon on its own and just blend that. All right, so I'm not blending this. I'm now going to apply the obsidian over the top of this, and I just have to give you a little sneak peek. Oh my God, we have a brush set, people. Now, I'm not gonna go too much into this because I'll do a proper review and a tutorial on how to use all these brushes, but stay tuned because you asked for it and they're here. Vegan brushes, like a proper full brush set. So I'm going to now put on the obsidian with a flat brush. It doesn't really matter what brush you use, but a flat one because I want to press this obsidian over the top. So you can see that it's starting to get a really intense sheen to it. Almost a metallic look. Now, if you've got hooded eyes and your eyeshadow bone and you've got sort of this hooding here, still just take the eyeshadow up to your brow bone, okay? And you always follow the eyeshadow out to your brow, okay? We don't want to follow it down. You shouldn't have any eyeshadow underneath the edge of your eye. Now, if you've got, just as a little tip, so we don't want to have sad eyes, and that's what often can happen is people blend down and then they end up looking sad, or it's too dark and too heavy and it can look like you've been punched in the eye. So your eyebrow, edge of your nose here, edge of your eyebrow should not sit below that space here, and nor should your eyeshadow. So then that means if you stick to this area, it's going to give the eyes a lift and not drag down. Now, if you do find that you've put a little bit down here, don't worry, that's the reason we're doing our eyes first, because I'll show you how to fix that. I'll probably, no doubt, put it a little bit in the wrong spot myself, and I'll show you how you can easily fix it, and that's another reason why we do the eyes first. Now, I'm loading the eyeshadow onto my eyes. I'm not blending it, I'm patting it on, because I want that nice intensity that you can see there. And I'm going to show you how to blend it in a moment, all right? So you just get it on so you're happy with the intensity of it and you're more or less happy with the placement of it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is show you how to blend this line away. And it's always my favorite tip and an easy one, and that's to keep a brush that's clean, free at all times, because that will be your blending brush. If I tried to blend with the brush that I just used, I'm just going to have that excess eyeshadow on there, and I'm going to end up blending it up into the eyebrow, and that's mostly where people go wrong, and they end up looking like their eyes are really dark and grey and look tired or punched in the face. So just have that clean brush handy, and all I'm going to do is just very gently tickle over the top of that line. I'm not going into the eyeshadow, I'm just tickling away that line. It's never easy doing these tutorials into a phone, but we get there. Okay, so that line has disappeared. Now it has come down a bit here. That's fine, we're going to fix that in a minute. So I just want to show you in these tutorials, you never have to start again, okay? You just work with getting this part right, and we'll come back and fix this in a minute, okay? It's not a big deal. So I'm going to just blend this a little bit. Notice I'm blending it up and out in the direction that I want to make my eyes look bigger. So I'm just blending it up and out a little bit now, just so it's subtle. So you can see now there's no harsh line, but I will be putting another eyeshadow color underneath here once I've done my eyebrows. So I'm not worrying so much about you still seeing a little bit of a differentiation between the two, because that will be fixed when I put the next color. It's just to get that harsh line away. All right, so now moving on with another flat brush, I'm going to show you how adding a pop of color just here to the center of the ball of your eye. So if I was to shut my eye, it would be covering the iris area. Not only is it going to blend this line away for me, but it's adding in that pop of color that often people love certain colors but don't know how to use them. So this is the Golden Emerald, and I am just putting it over the ball. I'm doing a circle. Okay. Now that's the pop of color, and that has instantly blended that dark brown line away. And now I've got obviously a little bit of a line from the Golden Emerald and the nude part of my eye. So what I'll now do is grab a third brush, and I'm going to use my, you could either at this point with the Hazel Eyes kit use the base to press in here and then just gently go over that to dissolve that line. It's called self-blending almost. And you could take the base right up over here, so as an under eye, or in this instance, I'm going to use the Loose Illuminizer. I just love this product. It's just such a pretty salmon, natural skin sort of a color. So I'm just putting a little bit on, just tapping off the excess, or use your lid, and I'm just blending it in the corner of my eye. And it's just instantly gets rid of that line. So essentially with your eyeshadows, what you're doing is you're just overlapping them, and that's giving that blending. So I'm not having to spend much time blending them. So you can see, look, there's that nice graduation between the Illuminizer, the Golden Emerald, and then the Obsidian. Now I'm going to take this up under the brow. And you can see that that's also just gently dissolving away the edge of that obsidian color a little bit further as well. Okay, so I'm just going to do the eyebrow on this side, and then I'll also show you how to do it again on the other eye. So sometimes I think breaking it up into eyes just helps for you to follow. So obviously use this tutorial in your bathroom, stop, pause it, and then you can follow the tips that I'm using along the way. Now the eyebrow dust that I will be using is the medium Peggy. Sorry, I'm just finding that, with an angle brush. Okay, so you can use the angle brush that we have singularly. We sell them singularly, they're black, or in the new kit that's coming out, it'll be included in that, or in the little travel size. And there's no difference between the travel size, it's just that there's less brushes in there. It's the brushes that you need, and then it just has shorter handles. So, you know, just because the handles are longer doesn't mean that they do anything different. All right, so I'm going to now use the Peggy Brow Dust, which is a taupe sort of a color. I'm not going to go into too much how to shape your brows. You can watch the specific tutorials on that on our tutorial page. If you want your eyebrows to look more intense, you could use a wet or a damp angle brush, and then the color that you are using will go on more intensely. So if I was to wet this, it would probably go on a bit more like my hair color, but I just prefer it to go on dry. I just think it looks a bit more natural. Okay, now I've just gone on to just wipe that away a little bit, there we go. All right, so I've done that brow, I've combed the brow at the beginning, and I also like to comb once I've done it, because I just feel that that separates the brow dust a little bit as well, and just makes it look a bit more natural. All right, just to fix this here. Okay, perfect. Okay, all right, so again, I still have to fix up down here, but we're not worrying about that just yet. So let's move on to the other eye. Again, I'm using the, where is it? The Golden Unity in the Chubby Crayon, or the eyeliner crayon, which you can use as an eyeshadow. Now remember, I've already put the Peachy Sleep, or you could use the light concealer. I've already put that all over this eye. And now I'm putting this Golden Unity down for two reasons. One, I want to really have quite an intense eyeshadow look, and using a cream underneath a loose will intensify the colours, no matter what colours you choose. And it just also makes things blend really nicely and keeps the eyeshadow on for just that little bit longer as well, I find. All right, so remember, just put more on than you want to end up with, because when you start blending this and putting other eyeshadow colors over the top, it'll end up half as intense as it is now. All right, so up onto the brow bone. Even if you've got hooded brows, just put it right up onto that brow bone. Again, you don't want to apply it underneath the corner of your eye and the corner of your brow. If you do, like I have blended down here, we'll fix that up in a minute. All right, so I really want to show you how, when you're doing your eyes, they look quite ghastly until the whole look's done. So I think often I see when people have shown me how they do their own eyes, they get frustrated and then they wipe it all off because they're expecting it to look like they see in tutorials at the end. Now, it doesn't matter who you are, it looks a little bit ghastly while you're doing it and putting it all on and blending it all together. So don't give up. Just notice that you'll see on my tutorials that I'm showing you exactly how it looks each step of the way, so you don't expect it to look perfect the second you apply it, because it won't. Now I've popped the obsidian with a flat brush, and notice I'm pressing it on my eye. I am not flicking it around. Could have almost put my foundation on because I haven't really got any fallout from this. These colors are quite forgiving. They're not that dark, which is great. Okay, so I'm happy with the height of that. Looks relative to this side rather. Now at home you would do each stage at the same time and just make sure, yes, that eyeliner is the same as this, okay? Now I'm going to put the golden emerald on the ball of my eye, and I'm just gonna blend everything together, okay? Whether you blend the top like I did on this eye first, it's up to you, but I'm just going to put the golden emerald on. I just want to get all my eyeshadows on first, and then I'm going to blend it. So the golden emerald is just going over the ball of my eye in a round way, checking that the placement's the same. And now I'm going to grab some of the illuminizer with a clean brush, and I'm using this not only to apply the illuminizer and blend away the edging of this part of the golden emerald, so you're going a little bit over it, but I'm also going to use this under the brow here, and I'm going to blend this away with the illuminizer. So this is even a quicker way of blending. If the colours you're using are not too dark, you don't need to blend it straight away if you don't want to, but if you're not adding this third colour, if you're not adding a lighter colour like the illuminizer or say our invincible eyeshadow or the base eyeshadow, if you're just using two colours, you'll need to blend it with a clean brush. I'm blending it with the illuminizer on my clean brush. So 2 for 1, I'm getting that really nice enhancement to the brow, but it's also at the same time blend away any of the eyeshadow lines for me as well. And I'm going back and forth to each eye just to make sure that they're symmetrical. All right, so see how that's all just, there's no line as to where anything is. So it's very easy that it's self-blending. All right, so let's finish off the brows on this side again, combing the brows so that they're easier to apply the brow dust, angle brush, and then the Peggy brow dust is what I'm using. Now all of the loose minerals in our range, if you do or don't know, are water and sweat resistant. They're not rub resistant, so if you are sweating and then rub your face, it may come off, but it's definitely more sweat and water resistant than traditional makeup because it is essentially dirt. And so if you do find that you're sweating or you live in a hot climate or you've just been exercising, don't rub your face, just pat it and the makeup will stay put. If you rub your face, then it's probably going to rub it off. All right, so we've got some really good brow definition there. And my eyes at this point are finished. I'm now going to move on to my skin before I finish off with mascara and things like that. All right, so first thing, I'm going to grab the fan brush, or you could grab any clean brush just to get rid of any excess that's fallen under my eyes. Okay, so that doesn't then any darkness mix in with the foundation. All right, so super quickly, I'm going to use the medium olive stick and I'm going to do a quick contour of my face. I'm going to put some up the top here so that it minimizes the look of my forehead. It gives a smaller looking forehead. It'll also help with this pigmentation I've got, which is quite a brown color. So putting a slightly darker foundation there will help hide it as well. So you always have to match your pigmentation. If you put a lighter color over it, it'll make the pigmentation look pink. Okay, and then I'm going to put some underneath my cheekbones. So I like to use 2 foundation colors when I'm going out. One to do a really quick contour to give me that bigger cheek look, help hide the pigmentation, and then I will use another foundation over the top, so the loose. So I'll just quickly just buff this in. I'm not going to really worry about blending it too much. I'm just going to blend it in there and up the top, because I'll also do a bit of a contour when I get to the bronzer as well. Okay, now I'm just going to grab a little bit more of the stick, just lightly. I don't want it to be as dark as the places I've just put it, but just a little bit on the face. So you can layer the ADORN foundations, which is great. Just try not to go over the top of your eyebrows. If you do, you might just have to add a bit more brow dust. You could do your brows last if you wanted to, but all right. So the coverage on its own is really good, except I've got a scratch on my nose. I'm in the wars at the moment. A scratch on my nose, bruised eyeball. All right, so what I'll do now is I'm going to layer the loose minerals over the top. So I've used the medium oil with the cream. I'm now going to use light to medium in the loose minerals, and I'm going to press this over the top. Now I'm grabbing about that much each time, not much at all, and I'm pressing it into the lid. That's why I'm looking down. I'm pressing it into the lid so it gets nice and even on the brush, and I'm pressing it onto the skin. Now pressing it onto the skin gives a really heavy, flawless coverage. And every time I move to another area, I am dipping it again because I want it to be like super flawless. If you want it to be thin coverage, then you just apply less often. So you might buff it and stretch the product, where pressing it in like this gives a heavier coverage. Buffing it in stretches the color and gives a lighter coverage. So again, foundation is one of those things where everybody's got their coverage preference, their coverage type. Some people like it to look matte. Some people like it to look super dewy. Some people like it to be really thick, and other people want it to be barely there. So you can get that look with the loose minerals. It's just dependent on how you apply it with the brush. So you can see by me pressing this in, this side of my, I mean, I haven't got concealer under my eyes, but this side of my face is just absolutely flawless, like it looks airbrushed, okay? Now I do like to put a bit down my neck, and I do like to put some on my décolletage. I'm 40, so I do find I just want to even up my chest a little bit. That's up to you. Most times our chests are darker than the rest of our body because we tend to neglect that area and got more sun damage, and most people probably will need to colour match their foundation to their chest. Your face and neck might be quite a bit lighter than your décolletage, but if you want to look younger or more youthful or more healthier, you'll need to match it to here, not your neck. Even if you are a shade or two lighter, the most natural way of looking is getting this whole area to look the same. So yes, if that's darker than your neck, you're going to have to probably bring it down your neck to even it all out. And again, because the products are water and sweat resistant, they're less likely to come off on your clothes, and that's just the recommendation. Okay, so you can see even the loose minerals have covered that red scratch that I had on my nose. Hopefully they've hidden that bruise that I had. I tell you, don't have boys I love my boys, but there's always something flicking around in the house or being fought over, and all good fun if you're in the way. All right. Okay, that's just super flawless skin. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is put my concealer on. Okay, and I am going to put the Peachy Sleep concealer under my eyes. I'm going to get about that much on my finger, put it on the other finger, and I'm going to actually get a little bit more, and because it's for event makeup, I'm just going to make the concealer not heavy, but just a little bit more flawless than I normally would do. Because if you make the area under your eyes slightly lighter than the rest of your makeup, not a lot, you don't want to look white and, but just ever so slightly lighter, the fact that I've made this bit darker with the cream stick and I've made this bit here lighter, it makes the cheekbones stand out more. Okay, so it's just a little tip. Now, what I also love about this is at this point, if I've put any eyeshadow that's down too low, I use the concealer to correct it by popping my finger in that part of the corner of my eye and blending it up and away. All right, so see, it's all about self-blending and not panicking, because every product will overlap the next and it will fix anything that you're concerned about. Now, my eyes looked a bit weird before because my face wasn't finished, but you can see it's all starting to come together, okay? So I'm happy with my skin at the moment, and what I'm going to do now is add a bronzer in, and I'm going to use the Monaco. Normally I use the Winter, but I'm going to show you the Monaco because it's just a little bit darker. It's a little bit more luminescent. So especially if you're going out at night time, you might want something that is a little bit more luminescent, so that you can see the product a little bit more, or not the product, but the overall look. Okay, now this is my 3 technique that I do. So essentially I pop the bronzer all around my hairline, into the hair, to this part of my ear, and I go down here, back and around and down my jaw. Now, putting a bit of bronzer here gives the illusion of a smaller forehead. It also casts a shadow down the face, and already this side of my face looks healthier than this side. Because when you're using foundation and you just put foundation on, you can look mask-like, and no one is one color and one-dimensional. So foundation gets rid of our flaws, but we need to then add colors back to add the natural dimensions to the face, and that's the blush and the bronzers. So this is going to give that healthy glow. It also can minimize the height of a forehead if you've got a large forehead. It'll also, by putting it under here, again, help with giving the cheekbones more height, or larger looking cheekbones. Running it along the jawline will help give a really nice structure to the jaw. And if you do have a little bit of skin or meat that you're not happy with under here, you can just pop the bronzer down the neck, just a little bit, because darker things look smaller, okay? Lighter things look bigger. So just think about when you're getting dressed, you wear white or light things to emphasize something. Dark things make things look smaller, okay? It's a bit reason why we paint rooms white, so they look bigger. So if you are not happy with something on your face, make that area darker, or if you want to enhance something on your face, make that area lighter. Okay, so again, I'm just popping the 3 on. Now again, if you make a mistake and it's too dark, or you can see the difference too much, don't worry about it. I'll show you how we're going to blend this all together in a minute. All right, so just get it on around there. Pop a little bit in your ears. If you've got your hair up, put a bit of bronzer behind your ears, because it's always a little bit white behind there. Again, I'm just putting a little bit of the bronzer down my neck. I've not re-dipped the brush, I've just used what's left on the brush. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the kabuki brush. Now the kabuki brush always has a little bit of foundation on it, so it's going to be your blender. You might have a couple of these. You might even want to keep a clean one around to be your blender. It doesn't matter. So all you need to do is just sweep downwards or into the hairline, and look at how that has just blended that away into perfection. So you can still see a little bit of a line there. So I'm just going to blend downwards. And perfect. It's like I've spent hours blending it. Okay, so we're done. Now the tutorials I go through in step-by-step stages, so they do feel like they're taking a while, but when you get the hang of this yourself, it's really not something that takes that long. A little bit of practice, watch the tutorial, do it, and do it for a few days, even if you don't have anywhere to go, so you can master it when you actually are going out, and then you're not frustrated when you do want to go out one night and copy this look. All right, it's all about practice, and once you've done it, this look doesn't take any more than 10 minutes to do, I promise you. Okay, I've timed people who don't know what they're doing. Once they know where to place it, once they know the little tips around using the kabuki brush, having clean brushes handy to blend, it really doesn't take that long at all. All right, so now I'm going to put on some blush color. Okay, now I do like to use two blush colors. I either will use the winter or the spring cream blush to put on my cheek area. Okay, and then I'll put a pop of color on my cheeks, a brighter blush, and that just makes the brighter blush look more natural. So to put, say, like the Coral Pearl, which I love, all up my cheeks would just look wrong town. It'd be too bright, it'd be aging. So the trick to using really bright blushes is to add a neutral blush underneath, or you could use the bronzer like I've done here. Okay, so that is going to give a nice graduation onto this blush color and not look so bright. So I'm going to get a little, look, teeny tiny bit. I'm going to blend that into the lid so you can't see it, and I'm just going to put a little pop on the apples of the cheeks. Now the apples of your cheeks generally sit under the edge of your eye and halfway down your nose. That's the apples, so just place it on. You could use the cream blush in the Coral Radiance too if you have got drier skin. I just am using the loose today. Now I'm blending it up and out, not down. I'm using the loose today because I find the loose just a little bit more intense, and I just want a really dramatic finish. Just applying a little bit more now. Now you don't want to apply blush any lower than that. You can blend it down a little bit, but you don't want to apply it. So you noticed I applied it here and then I blend. If you apply it here, where are you blending it? You're going to have to blend down a bit and then up a bit. So you want to place it right there, so when you are blending it, you blend it back into the hairline, but you are not going too far down the face, because if you do, you're just going to get this drag, drawn, skinny looking face, which you don't want, especially if you're getting older and we're already starting to go down south a little bit. So I'm just blending that away. Again, if you stuff it up and you put too much on, grab your kabuki brush and just blend over the top of it, just to get rid of that extra bit of color maybe that is too intense for you. All right, so that's the Coral Radiance. Don't be frightened, because look how natural that is. It's really pretty. All right, so now what I'm going to do, and you can use that as an eyeshadow color as well. Now I'm going to pop on some of the Illuminizer, because I always finish off, no matter what, I always use this product because it just brings back some dimension to the face. So you can just see it gives a very subtle skin-like sheen, which gives the illusion of healthy skin, but it also, by putting it on the temples and the cheeks over the blush, it gives the look of bigger cheeks. I like to put it on my forehead just for the luminescence of it. If you've got a lot of wrinkles up here, then don't put it up on your forehead, because again, anything that's lighter and anything that has a sparkle to it or a shimmer makes things look bigger and more obvious. So if you've got a lot of lines here, just avoid it. Maybe just put a tiny bit on the cheeks there. All right. If you're wanting to, you could put a little bit of it down the middle of the nose. Again, this is the product that I used for the inner part of my eye and under the brows, and that's the Loose Mineral Illuminizer. Okay, moving on. I'm now going to show you the eyeliner tip. All right, I'm going to show you how to just do a little bit of a winged eyeliner by using the Black Onyx Chubby Crayon, or the eyeliner crayon. And what I'm going to do is just put a little bit on the outer corner of my eye. So for those of you that watch my tutorials, I only ever like to put eyeliner from the edge of my eye to the beginning of my iris. I just think, like, look at that already. It looks higher than that eye. It looks bigger. And I haven't had to try and put the eyeliner in here, which is, if you're not great at using eyeliner, or you're not someone who uses it every day and has the ability to practice it, once you get to this part of your eye, it starts to get really thick, and I think that's when people make the mistake and it looks terrible. So the quickest, easiest, most forgiving, natural way of wearing eyeliner is just putting it on this outer third of your eye, so all the way to the beginning of your iris there. All right, so I've just put the bulk of it on, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my angle brush, and I'm going to show you how to do a really easy winged eyeliner. All right, now I don't like it to be too big. I just find it's a bit much for me and my age and my preference, but you might like to extend it. So you just grab your angle brush and you tickle the end of a black eyeliner or brown. I'm using black because my eyes are quite dark with the eyeshadow, and I think the black will stand out more for nighttime. And what you need to do is just put the longer part of the brush into the corner of your eye, so almost like in your eye, and just flick up. There you go.